Good day, everyone. My name is Gledelan Marie F. Kindao, and I will be the one to first report the topic modernism and postmodernism. So, this topic discusses two important literary movements, modernism and postmodernism. For these slides, the focus is mainly on modernism, which came first and influenced how writers think, write, and express ideas. Modernism developed during a time of great change and crisis, such as industrialization, World War I, and rapid social changes. Because of this, writers started to question old traditions, beliefs, and writing styles. They felt that the old ways of writing could no longer explain the modern world. So, what is modernism? Modernism refers to a group of cultural movements that appeared in the late 19th century to the mid-20th century, especially around 1890 to 1945. Modernism was not only in literature, but also in art, music, architecture, and philosophy. There are key ideas of modernism. Modernism emphasizes originality, innovation, breaking away from tradition. Instead of copying classical styles, modernist artists and writers wanted to create something new and original. So, there are also in literature. Modernism is a rebellion against traditional writing rules. Modernist writers rejected strict grammar, structure, and linear storytelling. Did not follow also traditional plot, beginnings, middles, and endings. Focus more on ideas, thoughts, and linear feelings because they believed that the old styles of writing could no longer represent the fast-changing modern world. So, writers experimented with new forms of expression to reflect confusion, uncertainty, and complexity in life. Of literature. The first one is individualism. Modernist literature focuses on the individual experience rather than society as a whole. Characters' thoughts, emotions, personal struggles are more important than actual events. The story often shows how a person tries to survive or adapt in a changing world. The protagonist may feel isolated, confused, or lost. The second one is experimentation. When we say experimentation, these are modernist writers experimented with new writing such as free verse, intrigue or mixed rhyme, and unusual sentence structure. Next is non-linear storytelling, and one famous technique is stream of consciousness, where the story shows a character's thoughts exactly as they occur. Thoughts may be messy, random, or illogical. It reflects how the human mind actually works. The third one is absurdity. When we say absurdity, these are modernist writers believe that the world had become chaotic and meaningless, especially after World War I. Life is shown as uncertain, irrational, or absurd. Characters may struggle to find purpose or meaning. Events and stories may seem strange or unrealistic. So, this idea later influenced theater of absurd, where life has no clear meaning, human existence is still empty or confusing. So, the next two characteristics of modernist literature will be discussed by the next reporter.
So I'll be continuing the 5 key characteristics of modernist literature reported by Glidel. So the fourth one is symbolism. While symbolism is exist before the late 19th century, it became one of the central modern literature. So ang kaning symbolism is nag-exist na ni siya before 19th century or modern century, and then the writers nagamit ng silang symbolism, like for example heart. Sa una, heart, then and now until present, heart is makonjud na to nga ang heart nag-symbolize siya og love. Then after modernism, it became more important na they give the heart more deeper and more complex meaning. So modernist authors and poets also reimagine symbolism. So instead of explaining clearly, they prefer readers to think. Dili nila ihungit dito ang kanang sa story, like they want the readers to think sa nga pag-betrayal pa sila. Then where their predecessors left little unsaid, modernists preferred to leave plenty of blanks for the reader's imagination to fill. So like what I said, they want readers to think. Readers must feel the meaning itself. So ikaw, readers ka, ikaw manghita sa kag feel, manghita sa kag kanang makahuna-huna jud ka ba? Ina na ang gusto sa writers, sa modernists, na they want you to think na unsay next may tabo or unsay pasabot ani. Then, however, doesn't mean that there was no intention to details. On contrary, modernist authors infused every layer of their work of fiction with symbolic details. The difference is that their way of using symbolism in writing allowed the several interpretations, all simultaneously possible and valid. It said here na symbolism in writing allowed for several interpretations. So, there is no single correct interpretation. We, as a human being, we interpret different things differently. So the writers in modernism, it's okay daw na may misinterpret nimo or lahi imong ma-interpret o masabdan sa ilang want ipasabot, because different readers understand the story differently, and it's okay. So you as a reader, you might understand their story happily or sadly, and it's fine because mao na ilang gusto. That's what they wanted to happen. So the fifth one or the last one is formalism. 20th century modernism was defined by the search for radically new forms of expression. Creativity fueled this search, paving the way of the emergence of the original forms. In modern period literature, the writing process was no longer perceived as a laborious craft. Modernists treated it as a creative process. Instead, in some cases, the originality of the form was deemed more important than the substance. So it said here that the originality of the form was deemed more important than the substance. So the writers wanted to experiment with how stories are written, not just what they are about. So, unlike symbolism, they focus a lot about how the writing looked, sounded, and was arranged. So now, let's proceed to the 4 recurring themes in modernist literature. So, first one is the transformation, which means change. Writers show how people change in their beliefs, feelings, and identity because of war, loss, and difficult experiences. These painful events make life feel broken, so stories are often fragmented to show confusion and struggle. For example, a character may start as a hopeful but become lost after experiencing war. So another example is the character was once a joyful person because of his grandma, and one day his grandma died. Mo na siya gnuot ag paglaom, di na siya ganahan. That's the form of transformation. And the second one is the mythological tales. But modernist writers do not retell old myths exactly as they were. Instead, they rewrite myths and place them in modern settings to explain present-day problems. Myths are used as symbol to help readers understand human struggles in the modern world. Example is A Greek hero may be reimagined as an ordinary person facing challenges in city life. So the third one is loss, separation, and destruction are also important themes in modernist literature. Many writers lived through wars, so they wrote about losing loved ones, being separated from family, and seeing their world destroyed. These experiences were shared by many people, which made the story relatable to readers. Example, a story may focus on a family broken apart because of war. And lastly, love and sensuality. In more realistic way, love is not described as magical or perfect, but as complicated and sometimes painful. Diba, tinuod na, love is not that perfect. Hindi jud mo mag-ingon-ingon nga, wa ka gimahal, kay ingana man jud dapat na. Di man perfect ang love. Writers focus on real emotions and personal experiences instead of fairy tales romance. For example, a love story may show misunderstanding, emotional distance, and failed relationship. So you as a person, you should not reklamo about love because that's love. That's how love works in the world. Okay? So that's all my report. Thank you.
So good morning everyone. So I'll be reporting 10 prominent modernist writers from 1 to 5 only. So first is Virginia Woolf, a pioneer in modernism in English literature. Virginia Woolf and her body of work defined the movement. For one, she was one of the first authors to start using the stream of consciousness narrative device to display the complex inner world of her characters, and her body of work defined the movement. For one, she was one of the first authors to start using the stream of consciousness narrative devices to display the complex inner world of her character. So, Virginia Woolf was an English writer who helped create modernist literature. She wrote stories that show the deep thoughts and feelings inside a person's mind. She often used stream of consciousness, a style that follows a character's thought as they naturally happen. Example novels, Mrs. Dalloway shows what different characters are thinking throughout one day, and Into the Lighthouse, she focuses more on characters' thoughts than on the events. Number 2 is James Joyce. An Irish poet and novelist, James Joyce is best known for his Ulysses novel. He belonged to the group of creators who explored new styles and forms of expression. His approach to writing was detail-oriented, infused with internal monologues and overturning traditional plot and characters devices. James Joyce was an Irish writer known for his very detailed and experimental style. He also used stream of consciousness and link to break traditional rules of storytelling. His novel Ulysses is famous for using long, complex thoughts and creative language. Number 3 is Gertrude Stein, often referred to as the mother of modernism. Gertrude Stein is one of the most important American modernist writers. Like two previous authors on this list, Stein experimented with stream of consciousness and other narrative devices. Her writing style, in turn, can be described as distinctive and playful. Gertrude Stein was an American writer who experimented a lot with language. People call her Mother of Modernism because she inspired many other writers. Her writing is playful, repetitive, and focuses on rhythm rather than clear storylines. Number 4 is William Faulkner. An American novel and short story writer, belongs to the group of celebrated modernist authors who focus on these themes. A Nobel Prize laureate and a Mississippi native, Faulkner is famous for his Southern Gothic stories, taking place in the mid-up Yoknapatawpa country. besides symbolism and multiple perspective. Faulkner also explored the unreliable narrator and non-linear storytelling devices. William Faulkner was an American writer known for stories about the American South. He wrote using many narrators, flashbacks, and complex timelines. His stories often feel mysterious or dark like Southern Gothic styles. Example is in The Sound and the Fury, he uses different characters to tell the same stories from different views. Number 5 is Ezra Pound, an expatriate American poet. Ezra Pound is one of the most prominent figures of 20th century modernism. He was one unrivaled in using free verse poetry and allusions in his body of work. Pound also excelled in using imagism in his works, and he was one of the first poets to do so. This makes his poems vivid and powerful for the reader's imagination. Ezra Pound was a poet who helped shape modernist poetry. He was famous for writing in free verse or poetry with strict rhyme or rhythm. Without strict rhyme or rhythm, he also used imagism, which means he used clear, strong images to express ideas. Examples: the poem is in a station of the metro uses only few words to create a vivid picture. And his long poem, The Cantos, mixes history, cultures, and strong imagery. So that's all for the 10 prominent modernists, or that's all 5. That's the first prominent modernist writer. So first is Virginia Woolf. Number 2 is James Joyce. 3rd is Gertrude Stein. 4 is William Faulkner. And 5 is si Ezra Pound. So,
Today, sir, this is my report. Continuation sa kang Kimbert Aldaya. 10 prominent modernist writers. Number 6, Franz Kafka, an Austrian-Hungarian author. Franz Kafka, 1883-1924, is one of the most prominent modernist writers in the German-speaking world. Kafka explored the themes of transformation, existentialism, and alienation in his works. Kafka focused his craft on absurdist, surrealistic, and fantastical plots, as best exemplified by the Metamorphosis, 1915. In this short story, a salesman has turned into a large insect, commonly interpreted as a cockroach. So, Kafka's works are known for being absurd, surreal, and nightmarish. His story often show characters trapped in strange situations and struggle with authority or identity. Example ana kay The Metamorphosis. A man named Gregor Samsa wakes up and finds he has turned into a giant insect. The story explores isolation and loss of identity. Next, E.A. Cummings, 1894-1962, was one of the most productive American poets and authors of modern period literature. Over his lifetime, he crafted around 2,900 poems, 4 plays, and 2 autobiographical novels over his lifetime. Cummings' poetry Style is best defined as idiosyncratic refuse. The poet disregarded not just the established norms of rhyme, he went further and refused to abide by the syntax, punctuation, and spelling rules. His poems often employ lowercase spelling as a form of expression. Cummings, known for writing poems with usual punctuation and spacing, lowercase letter, and playful structure. He rejected traditional grammar rules to express individuality. Themes: love, nature, identity, rebellion against rules. Example, anak ay a typical Cummings poem may look like I carry your heart, I carry it in my heart. Notice the lowercase and the intimate style. Next, number 8. H. Lawrence, another prominent English novelist and poet. Lawrence, 1885-1930, didn't earn himself a worthy place in the modernist literary movement during his lifetime. Only after his death did his work earn him the recognition he deserved. His works dealt with themes of sexuality, industrialization, modernity, and spontaneity. Exploring sexuality, especially from the standpoint of female characters, earned D.H. Lawrence many enemies. As a result of public persecution and censorship trials, Lawrence spent years in voluntary exile. Si Lawrence day ay usa ka English writer who explores sexuality, human emotion, modern life, and relationship. His works were controversial during his time because of their openness about intimacy and desire. Themes sa iyang mga gipangsuwat kay passion, individuality, conflict with society. Example ana kay Lady Chatterley's Lover, focuses on a woman's emotion and physical relationship outside her marriage, challenging as social norms or sexuality. Next, number 9. Ernest Hemingway, an American novelist and short story writer. Ernest Hemingway, in 1899, 1961, isn't just considered one of the most influential creators of the modernist period, but American literature as a whole. He is famous for his unique style of prose. It's economical, straightforward, and matter of fact, with few descriptive adjectives in the text. Si Ernest kay known for his simple, direct, and powerful writing style called iceberg theory, meaning the deeper meaning is beneath the surface. Kasagarang theme sa iyang ipangsuwat kay war, courage, masculinity, and human struggle. Example ana kay The Old Man and the Sea, tells the story of a fisherman battling a giant marlin. The simple storytelling style hides deeper themes of perseverance and dignity. Lastly, Catherine Mansfield is one of the iconic feminist modernist writers who specialize in crafting short story. A New Zealand native, Mansfield reflected on anxiety, identity, existentialism, and sexuality in her works. So si Catherine, isa ka modernist writer famous for short stories that focuses on small but meaningful moments in every life. Her works explore identity, anxiety, relationship, and existential question. Themes niya nga gamiton kay loneliness, self-discovery, human emotion. Example ana kay The Garden Party, a story about a young girl who feels conflicted after a tragic event interrupts their party, revealing social difference between classes. So overall, modernist writer aimed to change literature by breaking the rules, exploring deep psychological and emotional experience, showing the uncertainty of modern life. Through unusual structure and bold themes, they help shape literature as we know it today. So, mara to akong topic, sir. Thank you.
So, good day everyone. This is my topic of my report, the influence of World War I in literature. First is shift in tone. Literature shifted from being light-hearted to being more cynical and bitter, reflecting the war's horrors. Second is increased literary output. There was a surge in the production of literature including poetry, novels, memoirs, and diaries. Third is challenging traditional values. Authors challenge traditional recognition of heroism and patriotism and explores the psychological toll of war on soldiers and society. Fourth is including modernism. The war led to a movement in modernism, anti-authoritarianism and nihilism. Ang lima is creating a sense of separation. The war created a sense of separation between the artist and the general public. Kaunom kay influencing English language. The close contact between French and British troops led to the borrowing of French slang expression into English. Panglas kay British government using literature for propaganda. The British government used literature as a way to spread information about the war. That's all. Thank you.
Famous literary work during World War I. So the first one is A Farewell to Arms. Is a novel by American writer Ernest Hemingway set during the Italian campaign of World War I. First published in 1929, it is a first-person account of an American Frederick Henry serving as Lieutenant Italian Tenente in the ambulance corps of the Italian Army. The novel describes a love affair between the American expatriate and an English nurse, Catherine Barclay. So, A Farewell to Arms is kanang isa ka novel nga gihimo sa American writer nga si Ernest Hemingway. Ang kani nga novel is talk about a love story nilang Lieutenant Frederick Henry, an American serving as an ambulance driver in Italian Army, ug ni Catherine Barclay, a British nurse. So si Frederick na injured during sa battle nya gipadala siya sa hospital kung asa sila nagkita ni Catherine ug didto nagsugod ang ilahang love story. As the war worsened, si Frederick becomes delusioned. So means nga nawad-an si Frederick og paglaom. During a military retreat, si Frederick nitakas. Then, na-realize niya nga dili siya mo continue pa sa war. Nitakas siya og niadto siya ni Catherine. Silang duha niadto sa Switzerland, hoping nga makabuild og peaceful life. Then, si Catherine becomes pregnant. Abi nilang duha nga makabot na nila ang ilang happiness but sadly dili. Kay during nanganak si Catherine, namatay siya og apil ang iyahang baby. So the novel closes with Frederick walking away alone in the rain, symbolizing the harsh reality of war, loss, and the fragility of human happiness. The second one is Dulce et Decorum Est, is a poem written by Wilfred Owen during World War I and published posthumously in 1920. Its Latin title is from a verse written by the Roman poet Horace. Dulci et decorum est pro patria more. In English, this means it is sweet and fitting to die for one's country. So the poem is one of Owen's most renowned work. It is known as for its historic imagery and its condemnation of war. So, ang Dulci et Decorum is a poem nga gihimo ni Wilfred Owen during sa World War I. So, the poem shows the terrible reality of World War I. Exhausted soldiers are attacked with poison gas and one man dies painfully because he cannot put on his gas mask in time. So, the poet says these horrifying memories never leave him and argues that it is not sweet and honorable to die for one's country, but a lie used to glorify war. So, a third one is Mrs. Dalloway, is a novel by Virginia Woolf, published on 14 of May 1925. It details a day in the life of Clarissa Dalloway, a fictional upper-class woman in post-First World War England. So, Mrs. Dalloway is isa ka novel nga gihimo ni Virginia Woolf. So, the novel explores her thoughts, memories, and feelings, reflecting on past choices, love, and the meaning of life. So, alongside Clarissa's story, which is Mrs. Dalloway, the book also tells the story of Septimus Warren Smith, a war veteran suffering from trauma and depression, highlighting the psychological effect of war. So, the story ends with Clarissa hearing about Septimus' suicide, which makes her contemplate life and morality, giving the novel a bittersweet, reflected tone. The last one is In Flanders Field, is a war poem in the form of a randu, written during the First World War by Canadian physician Lieutenant Colonel John Macri. He was inspired to write it on May 3, 1915, after presiding over the funeral of friends and fellow soldiers, Lieutenant Alexis Helmer, who died in the Second Battle of Price. According to legend, fellow soldiers retrieved the poem after Macri. So, initially, dissatisfied with his work, discarded it. In Flanders Field was first published on December 8 of that year in the London magazine Punch. Flanders Fields is a common English name of the World War I battles in Belgium and France. So, in Flanders Field, the poem describes the poppies growing among the graves of soldiers who died in World War I in Flanders, Belgium. The soldiers speaks from beyond the grave, reminding the living of the sacrifice they made. They urge the living to carry on the fight and uphold their duty so that their deaths were not in vain. This is the poem of the Dulci et Decorum Est and In Flanders Field. As what I've mentioned earlier, the poem about the Dulci et Decorum Est is all about the exhausted soldiers attacked with poison gas, and one man dies because he cannot put on time his gas mask. The poem, the Dulci et Decorum Est, leave a horrifying memories, and it argues that it is not sweet and honorable to die for one's country, but it is a lie used to glorify war. The poem titled In Flanders Fields talks about the poppies growing among the grave of soldiers who died in World War I. So the dead soldiers speak in the poem, reminding the living to continue their fight so that their sacrifice will not be in vain. The poem shows both the sadness of death in war, and the hope symbolizes by the poppies.
So, good morning everyone. I am Miss Aristella. My assigned report is all about T.S. Eliot and modernist movement in poetry. So, Thomas Stearns Eliot, September 26, 1888 to January 4, 1965, was a poet, essayist, and playwright. So, he was a leading figure and playwright or figure in English language modernist poetry. So, where he reinvigorate the art through the use of language, writing style, and voice structure, and he is also known for his critical essays, which often re-evaluated long-held cultural beliefs. So he is the one, the most important figure of modernist poetry. So his work is reflect confusion, fragmentation, and loss of meaning in modern life. So why is he important in modernism? So he used fragmented structure, multiple voices, and reference to myths, religions, and culture. So his poetry shows how modern life feels broken and spiritually empty. So he believed nga ang form and structure were essential in poetry. So kanang his critical prose set aesthetic standards of new criticism. So he influenced nga ang literary criticism through new criticism. So next is T.S. greatest work. So, The Westland. First, a landmark modernism poetry is kanang explore the psychological and emotional breakdown of the world after World War One. So, the modernist poem about emotional and spiritual collapse of society after kanang World War One. So his use meaning many voices, language, myths, and symbols. So ang famous niya nga poem kani nga line nga April is the cruelest month. So suggests na rebirth is kanang painful in the breaking world. So ang end with the world kay Shanti is meaning kanang kuha na siya peace. So second, the love song of G. Alfred Prufrock. So kani siya kay kanang kuha siya explores the mind of a modern individual who is kanang insecure and indecisive. So show fear of rejection, overthinking, and emotional illusion. So nag-introduce po niya og modern anti-hero. So third is fourth quartets. So ang kani siyang fourth quartets kay a collection of four poems that explore spiritual and philosophical themes. So including time gihapon ni siya, existence, and research and search of meaning. So a set of four a set of four poems focusing on time, faith, existence, and meaning. So combines philosophy and spiritually. So nag-influence pa niya by Christian, Buddhist, and Hindu ideas. So ang kani siyang kanida dry, salvage, and little guiding. So ang si Eliot kay nag-draw siya through or on imaginary from kanang sa ni Judeo, Christian, and Buddhist, and Hindu traditions. So that's all my part, and thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So, my topic is James Joyce and Virginia Woolf as pioneers of modernist fiction. So, James Austen Aloysius Joyce is an Irish novelist, poet, and literary critic. He contributed to the modernist avant-garde movement and is regarded as one of the most influential and important writers of the 20th century. Joyce's novel Ulysses (1922) is a landmark in which the episodes of Homer's Odyssey are paralleled in a variety of literary styles, particularly stream of consciousness. Other well-known works are the short story collection Dubliners (1914) and the novels A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man (1916) and The Finnegan's Wake (1939). His other writings include three books of poetry, a play, letters, and occasional journalism. So, James Joyce was an Irish writer who lived from 1882 to 1941. He is one of the most important modernist authors. Modernist writers try to show how people think and feel inside their minds, not just what happens outside. So, one of the work of James Joyce is his famous book, The Ulysses, 1922. The book Ulysses tells the story of one day in the life of a man named Leopold Bloom. Joyce used a technique called stream of consciousness, which means he wrote the characters' thought just as they appear in the mind, like a flow of ideas and feelings. He also wrote Dubliners, a short story, a portrait of the artist as a young man and a Finnegan's Wake. Then, let's proceed to Virginia Woolf. Adeline Virginia Woolf is an English writer. She is considered one of the most important modernist 20th century authors. She pioneered the use of stream of consciousness as a narrative device. So, si Virginia Woolf was an English writer, also born in 1882 and died in 1941. She is another big name in modernist literature. Woolf also used stream of consciousness to show the inner life of character. She focused on thoughts and feeling more than on events. She is considered one of the most important modernists also sa pag 20th century. Just a short summary. James Joyce and Virginia Woolf were modernist writers who invented a new way of writing called stream of consciousness. They wrote stories that show the thoughts and feelings of characters in a natural, flowing way. So si Joyce's big book is The Ulysses, and Woolf modernist ideas maoy kanang nakakuan nila nga makuan sila as a pioneers of 20th century literature. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, sir. I am Velia Centino. So here is my topic that talks about the stream of consciousness. So, what is stream of consciousness? In literary criticism, the stream of consciousness is a narrative modern method that attempts to depict the multitudinous thoughts and feelings which pass through the mind of a narrator. So, the stream of consciousness, it's usually in the form of an entire monologue, which is disjointed or it has irregular punctuation. So, the term was used in the year of 1855, was first applied to a literary technique in 1918. So, in the year of 1855, it was already used and then applied, and it was recognized also in the year in 1918. So while critics have pointed to various literary precursors, it was not until the 20th century that the technique was fully developed by modernist writers such as Marcel Proust, James Joyce, Dorothy Richardson, and Virginia Woolf. So, one of the artworks that recognize and then make them fame. One of the artworks of Marcel Proust is The In Search of Lost Time, and then kang James Joyce was his artwork is Ulysses. Then Dorothy Richardson, his artwork is Mrs. Dalloway. And then pilgrimage, sorry. And then kang Richardson is Mrs. Dalloway. So all of their artworks was prominent because it's have a stream of consciousness. So, ang stream of consciousness, it mimics the way our minds actually works. So, it will gonna jump from one thoughts to another. And it often and our stream of consciousness, it's often without clear connections. Yes. And then, stream of consciousness narratives continue to be used in modern prose, and term has been adapted to describe similar technique in other art forms such as poetry, songwriting, and film. So it's not just only the story, the narrative story, different story in a different genre, but also the stream of consciousness can be found in or can be applied in or anything that can be used in poetry or songwriting. So stream of consciousness, it's not just the do you call this one for because we all know that the literary criticism, it's our perspective, and in the literature, in literary, it was broad, so that's why it was applicable to all in a literary artworks. That's all. Thank you.
So good evening everyone, this is my report about Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. So, Mrs. Dalloway is a novel by Virginia Woolf, published on 14 May 1925. It details a day in the life of Clarissa Dalloway, a fictional upper-class woman in post-First World War England. The working title of Mrs. Dalloway was The Hours. The novel originated from two short stories, Mrs. Dalloway in the Bond Street and The Unfinished The Prime Minister. In autumn 1922, Woolf began to think of the Mrs. Dalloway short story as the first chapter of her new novel, and she completed the manuscript in late autumn 1924. The book describes Clarissa's preparation for a party she will host in the evening and ensuing party. With an interior perspective, the story travels forward and backwards in time to construct an image of Clarissa's life and the interwar social structure. The novel addresses the nature of time and personal experience through multiple interwoven stories. In October 2005, Mrs. Dalloway was included in Time magazine's list of the 100 best English language novels written since its first issue in 1923. On January 1, 2021, Mrs. Dalloway entered the public domain in the United States. So that's all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my topic is about post-colonial literature and the exploration of identity and power. What is post-colonial literature? Post-colonial literature is the literature by people from formerly colonized countries, originated from all continents except Antarctica. So, kaning post-colonial literature is mauni siya ang writing made by people from countries were once colonized. Example ani is many countries in Asia, like atoa, Philippines. Then Africa, South America, and Caribbean were controlled by colonizers after gaining freedom. Ang mga writers sa kani nga mga places is nagsuwat sila og mga stories about their experiences. These writings are called post-colonial literature. Post-colonial literature often addresses the problems and consequences of the decolonization of a country, especially questions relating to the political and cultural independence of formerly subjugated people, and themes such as racialism and colonialism. Decolonization means gaining independence, but after colonizers leaves, countries still face many problems such as poor government system, poverty, and confusion about culture and identity. Writers shows these struggles in their stories. After gaining independence, ang uban nga countries is na-influence gyapon sila sa mga colonizers. They also show how racism and colonial thinking harmed the people. A range of literary theory has evolved around the subject. So, ang mga teachers and scholars is naka-develop sila og mga different ideas and methods to analyze post-colonial works. These theories help explain how power, identity, and oppression are shown in stories. It addresses the role of literature in perpetuating and challenging what post-colonial critic Edward Said referred to as cultural imperialism. Cultural imperialism means when a power country forces its language, beliefs, and culture on other country. Some books continue to promote foreign culture, but post-colonial literature changes this by honoring native culture and identity. So in short, ang post-colonial literature is money ang writing sa mga tao from countries that were once colonized. It talk about problems after independence, identity, power, and racism, and the effect of colonialism. Nag-show pud ni kung giunsa sa mga writers sa pag-fight against cultural domination and protect their own culture. That's all my report, and thank you for listening.